If you clicked on this video, that means you are most likely running meta ads and struggling to make it work for your business. So you might be dealing with issues of unable to generate leads. Maybe your results are inconsistent. Maybe your results are just too expensive to acquire leads or clients. You might be struggling to convert them into actual sales after these leads come in. Whatever the case is, I'm creating this video as a conceptual overview just based on the most high-level things that I've seen after running an agency for several years, working with hundreds of different clients. So this won't be like a hack or a nitty-gritty video. We're just going to be looking at high-level concepts. Now, if you're wondering why listen to me or who is this guy, my name is Evan Leibowitz. I started my meta ads agency / consultancy, I guess you could say, back in 2019. And since then, I've worked with over 200 different business owners, generated just over 70,000 leads, managed millions in ad spend, and I've seen what works and what doesn't. So I'm creating this video to help you skip the line. The years of trial and error, and more importantly, thousands of dollars that could be potentially saved so you don't have to go through the struggles. And one thing I'll quickly note about is back then, Facebook ads were a lot different than they are now. So this was when lookalike audiences were a thing. This was when you had to get very granular with your testing. This was before AI or UGC was really a thing. So a lot of the strategies were different and things are evolving at such a rapid pace. However, the same reasons why meta ads don't work for 98% of business owners are still the same reasons why today they don't work. So the first thing I want to go over is what most business owners are used to, and this is what I call the referral trap. So the typical business owner grows their business on referrals or word of mouth, and this is kind of like riding a bike with the training wheels on. So you have to understand that when you're getting leads coming to you that were recommended by a friend or one of your previous clients, these leads are already pre-sold, right? They already have that trust because they're coming from a valid source. And the sales cycle is typically going to be a lot shorter with these people. So they're coming in with less objections, less questions, more educated. And this just all around makes for a much more pleasant and easier type of client to deal with. But then when you start running meta ads, this is when the training wheels come off, basically. So this is where reality sets in. You're going to find that cold traffic leads are much harder to convert than warm traffic leads. And that's because these people don't know, like, and trust you already. You're just some random stranger from the internet. So they don't really know what you look like, what you sound like, what your company represents. More importantly, you're just not their number one priority. So oftentimes these people are going to delay or put your service or your products, at the end of their to-do list. And ultimately, just most business owners are not prepared for this their first time. And this is why Facebook ads or meta ads can feel like such a hard process to really nail down. So a common misconception that I hear from business owners, including ones that we've worked with, but I think this is one of the most common misconceptions, and probably one that you're wondering to yourself, is, are people from Facebook just bad quality, right? And the answer is this is not true. Facebook lead quality isn't determined by the persona, but rather the buyer's intent. I'm going to say that again because this is very important. Facebook lead isn't determined by the persona, but rather the buying intent. All right. And just to illustrate this point further, I'm going to go through a thought experiment. And I want you to think to your dream client or avatar. So if you look through all the years that you've been in business, look at your highest paying clients. So the ones that never haggle your price, maybe they're making a certain income level. They've always made their payments on time. They aren't bothersome or super needy or anything. And there's going to be some similar traits that you notice between them also. Like, do they live in a certain suburb? Are they involved in different subscriptions like meal prep services or magazines or clothing deliveries? You know, do they outsource their household chores? Like, do they have a cleaning service, a landscaping company, etc.? Someone who checks all of these boxes would probably be your dream client, let's say. But now let's go through a different scenario where that same dream client, let's say it's like 9 p.m. at night. They just finished a long day at work. You know, they just finished cooking dinner, putting the dishes away. Maybe they just put their kids to bed. They're probably getting ready for bed themselves. And now they're on Meta or Instagram, just scrolling their feed. And now they're seeing ads for the local gym in town. They're seeing ads for this paver ceiling company. They're seeing ads for pet food. And all of these ads, they're probably seeing for a reason. So maybe they're into fitness, or they've recently been searching different gyms nearby. Maybe they're in the market to redo their driveway. Maybe they have pets and they've been already involved in a pet food subscription. All of these could be very relevant for this dream client, but because it is late at night, they just put their kids to bed, they're tired, they might even opt into some of these ads because they don't want to like miss out on the opportunity. But they've already made their mind up that, okay, I'm going to get back to these guys tomorrow or the next day, right? And to these companies, if they saw this dream client opt in to one of their ads, fill out a form, and then they reach out to them and this lead doesn't respond right away, it would be very understandable for these clients to be like, hey, you know what? This person over here is a bad client. It must be because we were running Facebook ads, right? So I want you to think about this in this sort of context, that it's not this person itself that's a bad client. It's just the context of where they're at in their day and how they're going to interact with these meta ads. Just to kind of give you like one more example, it would be pretty foolish for, let's say, like a math teacher who has her first period students, you know, first thing in the morning. Maybe she notices that these students are a lot more tired, a lot less interactive. Maybe they're not getting good grades versus her period 5 students, where it's the middle of the day. They have more energy. They're more focused. It would be easy for that math teacher to just say, you know what? Their early period students aren't good students versus the afternoon ones. Those are good students. In reality, it's just that it's first thing in the morning and those kids probably, you know, don't have the energy and the mental bandwidth to like dive right in and perform their best. So now let's get into the actual nitty gritty. You know, we just went over some of the different contexts of people that are coming in through our Facebook ads, but we have to actually make them succeed, right? And one key concept that I want you to understand is that in a sea of competition, people need a reason to choose you and choose you now. Those are probably like the biggest levers that you can pull on with your Facebook ads. So let's go into one of the first ones. And that's understanding that authentic creative beats AI or stock videos or photos every single time. So right now we're in this interesting period with technology where everyone wants to just use AI to basically do all of their advertisements for them. And look, I get the appeal of it. It's very attractive as a business owner to just press a button and have like different machines or AI platforms do all the work. But what I've seen, especially with certain types of businesses, is that the more authentic that you can make your videos or even images, the better it's going to perform. And my prediction is that you're going to actually see this more and more as time goes on, where because AI is so accessible to everyone, it's going to make the ones that actually put in the manual efforts stand out even more so in the marketplace. And just to give you a great example, a lot of the clients that I've worked with are local service-based businesses, whether that's cleaning businesses, construction, remodeling companies, tree service. The same holds true without all of them, which is that when the owner or someone on the team is willing to get on camera, showcase the background that they're in, like the actual city that they're servicing, that builds so much trust with the local audience, and they're much more likely to actually trust that business and convert. And I think the same thing can apply for, various businesses, whether it's like an info product, an online store. I still think authenticity is pretty much like a lost art. So moving down the list, offer is king. And this is going to be very important for getting people to act now. So if you guys are familiar with Alex Hormozi, you've probably seen his value equation, which I'm going to put up on the screen here. And as a general rule of thumb, that's a great formula to follow to get your leads to opt in and really choose your business and not get commoditized, which so many business owners fall into. So a common misconception is people think offer automatically means discounts, but that's not true. There's tons of other things you can do, whether that's doing like some type of freebie included. Maybe it's having like a time convenience type offer where you promise to service that person or deliver something to them within a certain amount of time frame. Maybe it could be, you're an eco-friendly company. Maybe it could be that you donate a certain portion of revenue to a charity. So there's lots of different ways that you can make your offer more attractive. All right. Next, speed to lead is everything. I can't tell you the amount of businesses that I've seen where after a lead comes in, that person doesn't get back to them within hours or even worse, days. And this is literally just lighting money on fire. So there's a stat that I think it's like leads are 21 times more likely to convert if the business contacts them within 5 minutes of opt-in. And I can tell you right now, most people are not doing this. If you're not using like some type of automation system or even having like a virtual assistant who's able to reach out to these leads as soon as they come in, then you are leaving a ton of money on the table. And that's one of the things that we set up with all of our clients is automations so that no leads basically slip through the cracks. Very important if you're going to be running meta ads. To kind of piggyback off that, this is going to be follow-up. This is absolutely crucial. And that's because you have to understand that most leads are just not going to convert on that first touch point. So going back to my previous comparison where I talked about referrals versus cold traffic, the thing is referrals, they've already had some time to think about it, but also that sales process is artificially sped up because the person that referred them already handled the objections. They probably already told them what the price is like. They, told them how pleasant it is to work with that business, which is you. You have to understand that they're going to take a lot longer to close, basically. So we have to have a follow-up process to make sure that we're top of mind. And again, you can use automation for this or hire someone to assist. And lastly, kind of already touched up on this, but expect longer sales cycles when you're doing meta ads. We like to nurture these leads as much as possible, both through email. So we'll have like common objections that we pre-conquer through email sequences. Same thing with text messages. After we get that lead, whether that lead converts or not, the thing is, we still have their phone number, so we could always do like flash sales. We could do different monthly promos or different seasonal promotions, things like that. Same thing with social media. I think this is great to have your leads follow you on Instagram or Facebook or TikTok, whatever you use, because anytime you post organic content, that is just going to remind them that you exist and also help sell them for future services or get them back on the schedule, that sort of thing. So everything I just talked about, these are kind of like the biggest things that I've seen missing from a lot of businesses' strategies. And it's no wonder that when they start running Facebook ads, if they don't have any of this, then nothing's going to work. It's going to be very hard for them to make money. They're just going to be burning a ton.